Hey guys, Mike here with things you might like, and I'm doing something new today, so let me know in the comments if you like it. But I wanted to do a test run of WackyJacky's Ultimate Loot Loop. Now, if you haven't seen his video, I'll link it right here in the top right corner, so I recommend you actually check that out first so you have reference of what I'm talking about and the area that I'm talking about. Because WackyJacky has some great graphics showing the exact buildings that he's talking about, and I don't know how to do those kinds of graphical displays, and so go ahead and check out his video so you get a clear picture of what's going on. What I have going on here is me testing the loop, and this is the very first run. And I want to play a little game first off. The game is, how many level 3 vests did I find during this run? So keep your eye out, and I'll give you a hint. I've already passed up one. Be sure to let me know your guesses in the comments below. Alright, now with that out of the way, I wanted to test to see just how good this run is, because if it's good, it's in a great location. There's not nearly as much traffic. Consistently when I did these runs, I ran into 1 to 2 guys, which is perfect. So there's not a ton of traffic. You can catch people as they're coming out of the main city. So if this works out, it is potentially just a great spot to loot. And I found that I actually like to loot from the north side to the south side. The reason being, you start on the high ground on the north side, and if someone goes south, then you can catch them coming in, and it gives you a competitive edge. I've killed multiple people from the high ground in this area, so if the plane allows it and if the drop allows it, go ahead and start on the north side, the opposite of what I'm doing on this run. But my other runs, I all started on the north side, and it continued to work out really well for me. I really like this little cinder block area. I consistently found a lot of meds and a lot of good stuff there, but the goal here is to find all of these combined cement buildings, these two hooked buildings, I don't know if that's a great way to say it, but these two buildings that are always connected together. That's where the main loot is. WackyJacky includes the warehouses in his run, but if you're tight on time, you can go ahead and skip the warehouses. He did point out that if you run along the front side of them, it's a great way to see a lot of loot ground without having to actually wander through everything. So just something to consider as you're running around, but mainly you want to go for these buildings right here. In this particular run, I came across several snipers, a couple Kar 98s, a couple minis. There was just plenty of loot to go around, and I'll show you screenshots of a couple of my runs here at the end of it. But the point being, you could loot an entire squad pretty easily by doing these runs. In this next run, in the first 2 buildings, I found 3 M4s with plenty of ammo to go around, a Kar 98, 2 8x scopes, and a mini with an extended quick draw. It was more loot than I knew what to do with, plus I was level 1'd out, which I was actually surprised I didn't get more level 2 in the first 2 buildings of this loot route. And by the end, I had multiple level 3 helmets. In fact, I went ahead and hid one so no one else could have it. And I was completely set to go by the end of this loot run. I ran out of space, there was more meds and ammo than I knew what to do with. It would have been plenty for several guys to work with. Especially considering at the end of this run there were multiple minis, multiple Kar 98s, multiple 4x and 8x scopes, and multiple Scar Ls with plenty of ammo to boot. So is this broken? I mean, is there something wrong with this? And unfortunately, I think the answer is yes. It's very uneven. It's too predictable to have good loot, which, while as nice as that is, kind of messes up the balance, especially as more people become wise to these buildings and these looting routes. Now, if they keep them, awesome. For those of you who took the time to watch this video and are in the know, hey, now you know something that maybe somebody else doesn't and you have an advantage. And kudos to you, I believe in being rewarded for your research. So this was the end of my very first run. As you can see, a very healthy assortment of items. The only thing I'm really missing are a couple attachments and then boosts, and that's endgame level stuff right off the very first loot spot. And this is my second run that I told you had a bunch of M4s and everything. I mean, just plenty of good stuff. I had to leave so many things behind just because I couldn't find that level 3 backpack to get a little bit more ammo or an extra grenade. But really, I was set, and I didn't actually need those things. Those were endgame items, and that game actually went on to getting second because I accidentally blew myself up with a grenade that was thrown underhand, but that's a story for a different time. But I would constantly see stuff like this, or this. So shout out to WackyJacky for figuring this stuff out. Now, this is not isolated to only this area. Everywhere you can find these kinds of buildings, you can find better loot. This area just has a great concentration of them, so you can loot early game and be set for the rest of the game. So for the foreseeable future, this is where I'm going to be dropping should the plane allow it, because you get great loot, there's early conflict but not too much where it's super crazy, and it's fairly center circle. I've had enough circles at this point that favor this location to convince me that this really is just a great place to start your game when possible. So let me know in the comments below your guesses for how many level 3 vests were in that very first clip. And if this is your first time here and you like this video, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. We like to cover things like reshade, how to get the best FPS out of your game, and something I'm going to be starting soon is I have multiple systems with different configurations, and I want to do comparison videos so that we can see which settings affect different systems in which ways, and everybody can kind of fine-tune the best settings for their systems. I've had a lot of instances where my GTX 1070 on my 2560 by 1440 screen has given me different results than some of the other people, so I want to do comparisons across my systems to see why this is the case. So thanks for stopping in, guys. This is Mike with Things You Might Like, and I will see you with my next cool thing.